Hello everybody, welcome back to my craft room. I'm Whitney Lucas with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and today is a Facebook Live on a door frame hanger for Christmas. I'm going to show you guys how to make the mate to this guy right here. So they're going to basically frame out in L shapes or L brackets on either side of a door frame. I'm actually going to put these in my bathroom, so they're going to frame out a mirror. And then I'll be able to put up some pictures when we're finished, and I'll show you guys on the Facebook page and Instagram exactly what they look like. This also would look good in a entryway over a front door. There's also good ways to put them on like around windows in your living room or kitchen. Anything like that that's kind of small. This is going to be super simple, and it's actually going to be pretty quick for the stuff that you guys are used to me doing. And I can see hearts coming in already. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Welcome. I'm glad you're all with me. I don't see any comments yet, but let me get my tablet going, and we will we'll get started. So today's just a regular swag, but I'm making two. I already made this one the other day, and then so now I'm just going to basically make it a mirror image of the next one. So the one's going off to the left, one's going off to the right. That's the only really thing that you have to kind of be careful for, because it's kind of like left shoe, right shoe. You might end up with two right pieces or two left pieces. So we'll see just how good it gets. As you guys can tell, my craft room, you guys have been following me on Facebook. You know I'm kind of under construction right now. So there's lots of stuff all over the floor, the floor. And there's lots of missing stuff over here, lots of stuff back here. I've been mainly focusing on my new storage room. This is my second bedroom through that door over there. So I've got everything I need with me right here. And then I wanted to show you guys a couple other options that I had for other styles of the same thing. This particular one is going to be golds and reds, and I'll show you the ribbon I'm going to use up close. The one that you guys had seen that I put on Facebook and on Instagram previously, that one you guys saw was more of a classic Christmas green and red with the red ribbon with the green snowflakes on it. That one I just made a single piece, and the pictures I put up is just on a door frame in my hallway. It'll look good anywhere. I might put it out in my kitchen, I'm not sure. But I just made the one, mainly because I used some leftover mesh. Not this was the mesh I used on that was red and green. And I only had enough left for that project. You only need about 8 pieces of mesh. So it's actually a really good budget saver or a stash buster. If you've got a lot of leftover mesh, you don't have to really worry about using up a whole roll. Or if you have a lot of little pieces left over, this is really good for just clearing out those little tiny pieces you really don't have a lot of use for. Looks like Facebook is still going to give everybody an issue. Or at least just me, right? I just want to see my posts. I want to see my videos. Okay, guys. Let's see how we got. There it is. Give me 5 seconds. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put your comments up over here. My tablet is kind of dying. So if it does die in between, I see your comments. I see, hi, Connie. And thanks for joining me, Yolanda from Arkansas, and Louise from Kentucky. I'm so glad you girls are all with me. Thank you very much. So, you guys have questions and comments, just throw those out there. Let me know where you're from. I'll peek up from time to time, see how many I can go through, and just, you guys have questions or anything like that, or you see something, just let me know. So I'm going to throw that guy right up here. Hopefully it won't fall. So, this right here is what we made. I'm going to get you a better view of it. And I put it on a wreath stand just because I can't hang it behind me on the door for you to see. But this basically right here, it's L-shaped, but this is basically a swag, but I've bent it at a 90-degree angle on the back so that it fits around the corner or the top corners of a door frame or anything basically that you want to frame out. It could be a mantle for your fireplace. It could be back windows. You could put this above your cabinets in your kitchen, just as long as it's not interfering with anything opening and closing. So these are going good in the hallway because our bedroom doors open inward. This would be something where the door opens inward for. So I also have a couple pantry doors, but I believe my pantry door in my kitchen opens outward. So In any event, these two that I'm making here are going to go in my own personal guest bathroom. I'm going to put one on each corner framing out the mirror for Christmas. So, again, this is why I'm cleaning out my craft room. You guys can't really, there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of mess going on back here. My eventual goal is to get you guys, I'm going to be facing everything a different way so you guys can see a little bit better detail. So here's the back of it. This is what we've done. I have taken one of these guys. This is just your regular straight, I don't even know what you call it. This is just a swag. It's a door swag. It's not a teardrop. This is just a regular swag. And then I can tell you guys what type it is. I got these at ChristmasCentral.com last year. I ordered about 24 of them. Actually ordered 12, but they sent me 2 boxes because they're great people. This is a 28 Deluxe Windsor Pine Swag. I got them on sale. This, again, I got these, like, I think not last year, but year before last, so I have a lot left over. And this is also what I made my Scarecrow, the Scarecrow kit out of, if you guys remember that. I just used it vertically like this. So this time, I've taken one of these, and I put a bend in it, a literal 90-degree bend right here. So here's the swag used to go up like this. So I've just taken it with pliers. I don't even know if I used pliers, honestly. I think, because this stuff's not exactly, it's not steel or anything. It's not, you know, you can't tow a car with it or anything. It's just, it's bendable. I don't even believe I had to use my wire cutters, but you guys will see me do it. Literally did a 90-degree bend in it right here. So you've got now an L shape that you're going to start working with. Your main piece is here. There's little pieces that branch off, but your main piece is here, and now this piece goes this way. So what I have to do is make sure for my second one, since I'm using these on either corner that I'm mirroring it, I'm going to need to make sure that I bend the other one. You know, I got to mirror this. So if this one bends in this way, I got to bend this one this way into this piece. So you can see here, I got a couple shatterproof plastic bulbs on it. I like to choose the long ones for this because it makes the piece look longer. The first time I put it up, I actually forgot to put these on here. And I stepped back and asked my husband, I was like, something looks like it's missing. Of course, he's male, so he thought, oh, it's beautiful. He, you know, compliments are wonderful. Anyway, they come. And then I thought, oh yeah, I bought shatterproof bulbs for this exact purpose. So I'd actually forgotten with them. Hi, Martha. Thanks for joining me. Glad to have you. So what I did was I added these at the last minute while they were on the door frame. Sorry, not on this one. On the one I already have out there, the one that I posted pictures online for. So this is actually the first time you guys have seen this one. That's the one that I put the bulbs on it while it was hanging up on the door, and it was much easier to get placement. This hasn't been up on a door frame or anywhere else. I put this on this restand for just a little bit, just so I could try to get height out of it to make sure that these were actually had some movement and some dangle to them. So once I get them up in the mirror, well, hopefully they'll work out okay. So I'm just going to keep it here on this this little restand type deal. So, what I did was basically all your supplies are, if you're making one, we're just going to pretend this is one. I did 2, so double everything if you're going to make 2. It's also a possibility if you put 2 of these on the corner, and you have a really big window in the middle, you could put 2 over here and then put just a regular swag here up in the middle. That would also fill out a door without having to do a huge garland. This kind of eliminates a lot more work and a lot of awkward carrying and placement. If you don't want to buy a 9 or a 10 or a 12-foot garland, you can just add these little accents above windows and doors and mantles, those types of things, and then your decorating is pretty much almost half done. And I'm really sorry, guys, but my allergies have been getting to me again lately. So excuse me for that. So, first you need is a swag. This, again, I'd said, now you can use bigger ones, but you remember, make sure your door isn't too... It doesn't dwarf your door, because sometimes doors are a little bit smaller, sometimes doors are way bigger. So this particular, I just used what I had. I had a bunch in stock. Like I said before, these are 28-inch Deluxe Windsor Pine Swags from ChristmasCentral.com. I bought those there. I believe I bought these. Now, they've got a lot of really good stuff in there. They've got a lot of expensive stuff, and they've got a lot of inexpensive stuff. These, I believe, came to anywhere from $6 or $8 a piece, which this year I did not see many options for swags in the retail stores. I did get a couple teardrop swags from Joann's this year, but I did not see any regular swags or any teardrop swags made out of this evergreen. Christmas Central, I think their products are just a little bit nicer and better than what I found retail. These pieces, you can tell a difference when you buy a little bit less expensive stuff compared to some of the more expensive stuff. This is, I mean, at full price, I think this was $7.99. So $8. These pieces don't come off. This doesn't shed very much. And it's also built and put together really well. If you can see here how they've tied this all together. It's a pretty good piece. So, and again, if you buy them in a pack and you get, I can't remember honestly, guys, because I think it was 2 years that I bought these. I can't remember if they did like a thing on shipping or not. That's something you'd have to check on the website. But it's also a good time to buy them now since they might be on sale or running sales for the Christmas season, because I use evergreen stuff year-round. And obviously we know that they're going to be out of the stores pretty soon. I went to Michael's and Hobby Lobby last weekend, and they're already moving that stuff towards the front to get it out. Everything's 50% off, and they're not bringing more out. So get your wreaths, get your garlands, your forms, your anything you can get that you want now for the rest of the year. Because I use evergreen for Valentine's Day. I've used evergreen bases for many, many seasons, not just for Christmas. A lot of times, even if you don't see this, you're using it as a base. So right now is the best time to get this. So that was enough on that, right? Hi, Barbie. Thanks for allergies are bad everywhere, huh? Okay, good that I'm not alone. I used to never have any. I was born and raised here in Las Vegas. I've never lived anywhere else. Never had allergies until like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So that's either age or stuff has just moved into the valley enough to where I think everybody's got them. So, which is probably age. Don't tell nobody. So, next I'm going to add, I just got berries. I got a red and gold stick of berries. We're going to cut this in, so I'm going to get 3 pieces out of each. So you got 6 pieces total. That's everything that I'm telling you I have here has already been put into this. And then I've got 1 pick of these. Now these berries were Hobby Lobby, and this little golden, I don't know what these are. They're not grape leaves, but this little faux gold leafing pick thing, also Hobby Lobby. And right now everything's 50% off. They still have a good amount of things too. I actually left my ringtone on. Sorry guys, let me try to turn that off so you don't have to listen to all my stuff. There we go. So this little gold pick here, 50% off. I'm literally, you guys can tell here, you only see it peeking out in a few spots. This has got about four options on it. So 1 pick of this, 2 picks, 2 berry picks. I like to add different types of greenery to the greens for depth or texture. You got 1 pick of ficus. Took me a minute to remember that. This is just a ficus pick. They have these year-round at Hobby Lobby and Michael's. And I remember everybody probably knows that little tip that if they're not 50% off at Hobby Lobby when you're there, they will be the following week. So if you can wait, go the next week, because their florals are every other week on sale. And it's something you absolutely use right, and you need something right now and you can't wait for the sale, use that 40% off coupon on your app, because that's always comes in handy at Hobby Lobby. But Michael's, I don't know if they put their greenery on sale very often, but you can get this pretty much at most of the major stores. I don't know about Joann's because I don't really go there that often. Haven't got a good coupon notification yet. I also have been trying to stay away, so I haven't been paying attention to those coupons because they're kind of dangerous, if you guys know what I mean. So we're going to use this entire bush. I'm just going to clip all these little guys off and add that in. And then here is, well, this is what it looks like. This is the original pack that I bought at Hobby Lobby. These are the little shatterproof bulbs. I like to go for the ones that are elongated. So whether they come to a point or they look like a teardrop like this. So I've made 2 other ones. You guys have seen the picture of the one, and then here's the second one. They're all 50% off right now, so I ended up getting this for $6. Makes it about $1 a bulb. Not bad at all. The shatterproof thing for me is that, if you guys know, shatterproof still shatters. I've had many of them that break in the box before I even get them home. So it's just not glass, I guess, is what it is. So still be careful with it. It's supposed to be better to put outside if you want. But we're going to be using 2 of them. You can use more if you want. You can put regular bulbs inside of this. You can put anything in here you want. I just didn't want it to be too busy and I didn't want it to take too long. So that's why I just chose 2 of these longer ones. Now I was just at Michael's and they were also doing a sale, so I found these options here. And I love the shapes of these. I like how they come to a point. So there's a pink and gold that I might do, like a purpley pink and gold. And then I'm really into the turquoise and red for Christmas. These are going to look really pretty on another option. So those are options that I bought that I can do 2 sets of. I know it's kind of late in the year for orders, but I take them all the way up until you guys don't want them. And then let's see. Oh, Barbie turned 37. That was 9 years ago. I actually just turned 37 this year, guys. So does that mean I'm going to start falling apart? Actually, I started falling apart before then. So it is what it is, right? And let's see. Oh, Denise, you can't get the video on your end. We'll be glad to get my phone back. And the processor. Oh, went out on it. I gotcha. Okay, well, I'll put this up on YouTube. So if you can still hear me, Denise, instead of seeing me, you'll see this on YouTube. The playback will always be on Facebook, but I'll also put the playback on YouTube so you won't miss it. There's always that option. If you guys hear my dogs, that's because my husband probably just got home. They like to bark. Who doesn't? I also saw these at Hobby Lobby. I thought they were cute. Now, I'm not going to put them in just because of how high they're going to be up. I don't want to put too much detail on there because if you're putting them up really high, you're not going to see it all. But I thought these would look really cute to stuff them in the middle. It's just a little like a raffia or a twine wrapped star. It's very, very cute, very rustic. It's also a good option if you're not a strong bow maker. So if you're not comfortable or confident with putting all the loops in these, you basically can just tie in some tails, which I'll show you because we're going to put tails in first. You could tie in some tails and then put a big star in the middle of this. Also a different option for those of you who maybe not so comfortable with the bows or holding the bows or making loops are these guys. This is in the gift wrap section. This also got at Hobby Lobby, but you can get these anywhere. I've seen them, excuse me. I've seen them at many places. If you can see here, this is a little bit thicker of ribbon. This isn't curling ribbon like the really inexpensive plasticky, it just curls real fast. This is actually a material type ribbon. And it's really, really nice. And it adds a little bit to it. I got a couple of them. You don't have to put these on gifts. If you can see here, it's a material type ribbon. It's not made out of any kind of plastic or cellophane or anything like that. This is not the inexpensive stuff that comes on a huge roll. But these were also 50% off on their gift aisle. Same one on their gift wrapping aisle. Here's another one, much thicker. Also, if you can see, that's almost sort of a fabric. And I don't know if the camera's picking up. It has a shimmer to it also. So you can take one of these. Now this one was more expensive, but it was only $3.99, and I got it for half off. So they're about $3 to $2. So they comes about $1 a piece. There's only 2 on this, and on these guys, you get 3 of them. But you can nestle this guy right down in the middle of all of your other tails, and you don't even have to bother with a bow or a loop. And then I can show you that step when we're there if you want. I'm not going to use these today because I've already made that guy, and we're going to make that guy as close to identical as we can get it. So what I'm going to do is, in order to get started, oh, by the way, the ribbon. Ribbon today is a combination of Sam's Club and Hobby Lobby. So the Sam's Club ribbon I did get this year. You guys, I think maybe that was July when it all came out. Let's see, anybody else? I'm pretty sure it was July when this came out. But if you didn't grab it, obviously any kind of plaid, any kind of similar color combo. I'm going to do another one in like peppermints with candy cane type theme. And for that, I didn't even get bulbs. I got these cute little plastic hanging like peppermint candy sticks. Are really cute. But anyways, any kind of this would be any kind of plaid. So this plaid is red in like a tan, like a beige color with a metallic gold stripe in it. So I'm going to put a metallic gold ribbon with it. And then I've got this at Hobby Lobby a couple days ago, and there's just a nice solid, like almost canvas red with a really pretty gold in it. And a couple of those, like the gold has almost a gradient into a silver, but it's not really apparent. So we're all still doing just basically a red and gold theme. So that's all going to go in the middle. And And let's see, do you have any questions yet? No. Oh, thank you, Amy. Love my shirt. Thank you. I like to get a little festive on things. I do that every year. It's I wouldn't say a bad habit. It's just a habit, right? Sorry, guys. Let me plug my phone in real quick. I want to make sure things don't die in the middle of the live stream. Okay, so I got my glue ready to go. First thing I got to do is I got to take this tag off. Let me push this down, make sure you guys got a good view. All right, so most important, 10-inch mesh. This is the part that I'm putting in the back, and it fills it in more. Any kind of 10-inch mesh that you can see that works well with the ribbon and your color scheme, use that. I opened this brand new the other day. This one I got at craftoutlet.com. This whole roll was $6.25. And usually Craft Outlet's pretty good on prices. Now this one was kind of expensive for a roll of mesh because it has, this is a higher quality mesh. It has a high foil content. Some of the stuff that doesn't have foil in it, if it doesn't say it's like a foil deco mesh, that's going to be a little bit cheaper. But this one, if it's a high foil, you're going to pay a little bit more. And you can kind of see here, it's got thicker stripes in it. But there's mesh that you can buy that's just solid foil, and those end up looking really pretty. I mean, you're going to pay a little bit extra for them, but the end result is really pretty. And that's what I used. It was red and green striped. I had just a little bit left on a roll like that. That was solid foil, and that's what's in the one that I made previously that I put that Facebook post on. And it makes a huge difference, and there's no glitter. It gets all that sparkle with no glitter, and I love not using glitter. So, let's see. And let's see, Denise. All right, perfect. You got me back. Perfect. All right, guys, if you got... oh, good, Connie, you got the same ribbon at Sam's. Nice, nice. Yeah, I don't even have a Sam's card. I just went there, and when I saw how much and how cute some of the... Like, the Costco ribbon this year, very disappointed. This is all I got from Costco. This is literally all I got from Costco this year. It just was really, really unimpressive. And even then, I don't even know if I like this one. I think the deer are really cute. That's kind of cute. And then I got just a basic blue because this will come in handy for Memorial Day, 4th of July, anything like that. Also a Hanukkah wreath. I never got a request, and I still didn't really research it. It's a little bit too late now, but it's a good classic blue color. And then this one I actually really like. This is like a more thicker canvas. It's not a cheap ribbon. And it actually just says the Merry Christmas in a bunch of different languages. That's all I got from Costco this year. If you guys want to look back on my page, you'll see back in July or August, my Sam's Club ribbon haul. Huge. I had a box, had lots, and I don't have a Sam's Club card. I don't really go to Sam's Club for anything. I have a Costco card, but I went online and I paid the extra, I think it was an extra 10%, which is still cheaper than buying a membership for the whole year. So I still got that ribbon this year, so that's how I got through that, because I needed to have it. When I saw, I think a couple people online, Nick Criticos from Nick's Seasonal Decor, he did a big unboxing of his ribbon haul, and I absolutely needed to go get some of those because they were just way too cute. And then I had a coworker, she said she would, if you want to go to Sam's, just let me know. And I was like, all right, let's go to Sam's this weekend because I don't have a card and I need to get 27 rolls of ribbon. Okay, so I got the tag off. Sometimes you win that battle, sometimes you don't. So it's just the tag from ChristmasCentral.com. So I'm going to fluff it, but I'm only going to fluff it to a certain degree now. Now here's where I'm going to bend it. It's bent a little bit higher on one end than it is on the other because the L shape comes down lower on the side where you want it basically to come down the door frame. That's longer than the top piece that goes across the top. So I have this one, if I'm looking at it here, you know, you guys Facebook switching stuff around, but I'm going to look at this one up here, and I have this one going down on the right. So then this one needs to come down on the left, so I'm going to bend it at the top up here. So look, whichever way you need to bend it, you're going to go towards the top piece. See this, the center here, I'm going to go towards the top here, and I'm going to bend up here. So I'm only bending, there's two wires here, how it's connected. I'm not going to bend this at all. I'm going to bend it up here. So I'm only bending this piece up here, even though they're wired together. And I only have to bend one piece. That's not like you're going to have to get pliers or a vice grip or anything like that to bend it, because this particular material is very easy to work with. It's strong and sturdy. I just didn't have to have any kind of like extra help to bend it. So I'm going to have to hold it here because, I mean, they did a really good construction at keeping those two together. That's all that nice, good wire that they used to fasten them together. So I'm just going to take this guy here, and I need, this one goes this way, I need to bend this to the right. So I'm going to show you guys the back end of it. I'm literally just going to hold this with this hand, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to bend it to the left, and then push. So that's all I've done. Just bend it down. This bottom piece here moved a little bit, but it's really secure. It's not going anywhere. So here, that's really all I did. Take it and bend it. So now this guy, you guys can't see that well unless I put my thing back, my camera back up, but this guy goes like this, and now you can hold your project up just to make sure, if you're making a double piece and you want to make sure one is right with the other, you can just make sure you have them. So I know I have this guy facing the right way. So now I'm going to fluff it and pull all these little things out. This has extra pieces that kind of come up off of it. Do you see here? This has a piece coming here. This is the main piece here, but it's got extra pieces that come down and up, and then all those have the evergreen stems and pieces on it that you can pull up, and you're just basically pulling stuff up and fluffing it. Kind of like if you guys have artificial Christmas trees, or if you've done this for any other kind of wreath, or every year if you get your decorations out, you have to refluff things that have been stored, or stuff gets smushed down when you wrap it up, you know, for when the holidays are over. Sort of a sad time. I get sad when all it's over, because then you take everything down, and let me know if you guys feel the same way. As soon as you take everything down and you put it all away, it seems like drab and sad. And like the hole where my Christmas tree is makes the house feel empty. I mean, I guess that's a good problem if you've got enough square footage to have a tree, but my tree is so huge that I get used to walking around it and it taking up the space. And then in January, after my tree's down, I get sad. Anybody else do that? There's just not really much to decorate for, you know, I'll put up cute little stuff and a wreath and all that for some of the other smaller holidays, like Valentine's Day, those types of things, but nothing to the extent that decorations come up or go around for fall or Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween is a big one. Lots of those. The last 3 months of the year, there's a lot of switching out of decorations. You notice that? Like, gotta find a way to spread that out. Because Christmas and Thanksgiving are basically not even a month apart. Oh good, Amy, you feel the same way. It's kind of like all the lights come down and the parking lots and the stores and the decorations go away. I like when they come out early. I love to see Christmas stuff out in August. It lets me know that, you know, there's something to look forward to, because yeah, and you can always look forward to Christmas the next year, I guess. You know, I mean, it's not crazy like, oh, it's never going to happen. It's just, it's such a long time to go. And people are a little bit nicer, just a little bit nicer. Okay, all I did was pull all these things out. So here you've got your L shape. Kind of doesn't look like much. Looks actually kind of spindly and sad, almost like the Charlie Brown tree's cousin, right? It's not that cute. So first thing I do is I put my mesh in first, and then I cut the greens and I add the greens in around the mesh, because you don't want to put the greens in first, then the mesh is going to cover it all. So all I'm going to do is cut 8 pieces off of this roll. This, again, I only opened this roll. It's brand new. I opened it for this piece only. So I've already cut 8 pieces off of it, 10 inches wide. So we'll put this guy back here now, because I got to get this stuff cut. So 10 inches wide. We're going to leave it, we're going to be doing the ruffle technique where we pinch it in the middle. Real simple, real quick, but I need to cut 8 of them. So I'm going to start this guy over here, and then I'm going to use one of my pairs of scissors to kind of hold stuff down over here. And then I use a rotary blade. You can get this anywhere if you guys already have them or don't know. You can get them at Walmart, Michael's, Joann's, anywhere. The blades are the same price no matter where you go. You go to Walmart, same price. It's one of those things, it's probably a price that's regulated by the manufacturer, and people just pay it because they like it. So it's not like it's crazy. I mean, there's some rotary cutters out there that are like, the blades are 20 bucks each. And I will hand cut some stuff with scissors before I pay $20 for a blade. Just saying. Just putting that out there. But this little guy has come in handy so much. And I can get a separate one if you have, like, if you want to use one for just fabrics or you want to use one for just ribbons. These things will last a while. Even dulling it, I've got a cutting mat, but they come in handy with so much stuff. I use it on the bigger, thicker ribbon if I'm cutting a bunch of streamers at one time. This is a lot easier to use. They also come in bigger sizes. I just got the smallest one because, again, I'm trying to get the best deal, right? So let me cut 8 of these here, and it's just 10 inches each. So you're literally just going up across 10 inches, 10 inches. And let it curl. If you're at the end of your mesh roll, you guys all know that the mesh definitely gets a really big curl on it, really tight curl on it when you get towards the end of your roll of mesh. Let it curl on its own. Don't fight it. I've ruined a bunch of shirts. Because mesh snags everything. It snagged my shirts. I've snagged the carpet. It just sticks to everything. I had a wreath that I was taking over to someone's house, and I stuck it in the back of my car without putting it in a bag. I should have put it in a bag, and I didn't. And that mesh stuck to the carpet in the back of my car so bad. So yeah, it's beautiful, but it has its little, it has its quirks. You got to be careful with it because it'll fight you. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, yeah, Yolanda, you hate taking your tree down too. I know, it makes me sad. I was like, well, people will decorate year round. Mine's a 9-foot tree. That's too big to leave up year round, but it should be a little bit of something that, we're a little bit crazy if we leave the tree up year round. I leave mine up till the end of January because I love the lights. I love to have the lights on in the living room when I'm watching TV or if we're eating dinner. I love just to have the tree lights on. I'll take all the bulbs off of it and just leave the tree up for at least maybe a week after. And then we take the tree down. It's going to be like another, 6 to 8 months. Because I normally put my tree up in October. And I start my fall decorations on my tree in October. So I at least I get my trees up for a good almost 3 months a year. So I have to give props to my husband for loving it as much as I do. 6. And I only need 2 more. Because I'm going to do 4 per section. Remember that swag had a top piece and a bottom piece? We're going to put 4 pieces up and 4 pieces down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's 8 pieces of mesh. That's one of my little storage tips. I took the cellophane off. I'm not going to rewrap it with cellophane. But if you ever needed to keep track of your pieces or your UPC codes or how much you paid for it, I take that little label off of the mesh roll and I kind of twist it up and kind of push it right back inside there. You see that? You won't lose it. And then you can at least know, oh, well, hold on, let me find out if you want to reorder it or you want to know exactly where you got it. Like I can tell on here that I got this mesh through craftoutlet.com just because I know what their labels look like, but it actually doesn't say Craft Outlet on here anywhere. Because you can get this brand of poly deco mesh at a lot of different retailers. A lot of different online places. Sorry, you can't buy this. At least here I can't buy it locally. And even here where I live, unless you guys, if there's anyone here watching from Vegas and you guys know that there's a place local to get specialty mesh, because Michael's, Joann's, and Hobby Lobby doesn't carry, the special cute stuff. This stuff is really, really cute. They have just your regular, everyday average stuff, but you guys let me know. You let me know. Otherwise, that's why I just buy it online. Craftoutlet.com has never failed me in shipping. I get it quick. I don't know where it's coming from. I think it's coming from Illinois or I don't know. It's coming from the mid-state somewhere to me on the West Coast, and I've never had to wait more than a few days. Never a crazy amount of waiting for that. Sylvia, great idea, huh? Thanks. I know I love it. It's like I like to keep my labels just so I can keep track of my stuff because especially if you're running like a little crafty biz or a creative business and you need to keep track of prices, which is very, very involved. It's crazy how much you have to keep track of what you paid for everything. And see, I don't have a wholesaler's license, so I'm buying all this stuff, and I need to keep track of how much I spent on it so that I can make sure I can at least get cost back, you know, those types of things. So here, we're going to add the mesh on a lot like you would on a ruffle wreath. So I made a Halloween wreath a while back. I have YouTube and Facebook, you guys can see it there, where I used a black tinsel form, and we did a little ruffle technique. We're going to do the exact same thing here, but we're just going to nestle these within the swag. So let me just see. Can you make sure you guys have enough room to see here? All right, my tripod is at its lowest. So I'm going to switch places. I'm going to put my mesh over here where you guys can't really see it. But I'm going to move this over so you guys have a better view. And I cannot wait to finish my craft room. You guys are going to be extremely happy. You're going to have a way better view. There's going to be better lighting. And then there won't be so much busyness everywhere, so you can actually see more detail of what I'm actually doing. It's going to be great, guys. It's just going to take me 7 years to do it just because I didn't realize just how much stuff I have. I guess it's kind of like moving a house, right? First time I moved from one house, not apartments as in my 20s, but my first house to my second house. That experience when you realize, I have so much stuff and I don't remember bringing any of it into the house. But apparently I bought this stuff and it's now in my house. I know I can't be alone on that one either. So craft room is the exact same scenario. Except for I remember buying every roll of ribbon, every roll of mesh. I remember all of it. And it's just to the point where it's starting to avalanche on me. So I'm going to get everything straight and you guys are going to love it. It's going to be more detailed. I'm going to do a lot more videos too, not just all Facebook Lives. I'm going to have a lot more, some faster, quicker tutorials on YouTube that I'll just film for YouTube. That'll also be very much so better quality because Facebook will dumb down the file size and it's not really good quality. So you guys don't really get to see that much of detail. So we're using these little pieces of the swag like you would on a work wreath for a mesh wreath frame. This is the same type of stuff. We're going to use these as our twist ties or the chenille stems or the work wreath stems. We're using it like that for us. So there's still two portions. You got a top section and a bottom section. So I always put my hand here because this is where we're going to fasten our bow to the front. We're putting all that stuff here. So it'll work it up this way. So you're going to put 4 mesh pieces up here and 4 mesh pieces in here. So same thing is you take it and we're going to uncurl it. So you uncurl it away from yourself, put it down. And see, if I let go, it'll pop back up and it curls back up towards me. So just take it and kind of like flip it out, almost like you're trying to make the bed and get the sheets out. You guys know what I'm saying? And let's see, Stacy Snowflake. That's my sister, you guys. So if you see Stacy Snowflake, that's my sister. I just thought I'd tell you that. It's one of those things where she has to have an unbiased opinion. It's my sister. And so is my shirt. That's right. She likes my shirt too. She has to because she's my sister. So let's see. I do that with my yarn labels. Yes, Yolanda. I have a whole bookcase over here full of yarn also. I have not found a way to get the yarn on the inside, to get those labels on the inside without losing them. So I usually end up trying to just fold them up and then they get that. That's a little bit of a mess for me. I'll try looking into seeing if I can do that with my yarn when I'm making my projects. So back to this guy. Lay them flat, so push it down as much as you can. And when you get to the back of the roll and you get the ones that are a lot tighter of a curl, that one's going to be a little bit more of a struggle. If it pops back up on you, let it. But you're just going to keep this piece flat here. And with your 2 hands, you're just going to pinch it and just keep grabbing it. So you just walk your finger, your middle finger, and your index finger, and you pinch and you pinch and you pinch till you're done, and you hold it in the middle. So you got this little funky, almost looks like a little funky bow tie. So like you could wear it here in little funky bow tie. And you can see here's where you're getting the cute little ruffle. And there isn't a way to get a perfect ruffle. They're supposed to be different. They're supposed to look crazy and wacky and not perfect. That's part of the best thing about them is that nothing has to be perfect. So don't assume that every single one's going to look identical. You're never, and trust me, if you can get them to look that way, then I want your autograph because it's impossible. Because even then, we're going to have fray on the edges we cut. The ruffle is happening here on the finished edge from the project. So this came off of the roll on the finished edge, and here are the cut edges where we pinched it. See here, you can see a little bit. You're going to have fray. That's just part of mesh. You accept that when you attack a mesh project. So here I'm still pinching my ruffle in the middle, and all I'm doing is guesstimating how to evenly disperse this throughout. So you've got 8 pieces. I'm just going to start at the bottom and work my way up. So that way I at least know I need to put 4 in this piece and 4 in this section. So I'm just going to go down here at the bottom and look for 2 of these little evergreen pieces that are kind of close together. Push it way down in between the 2. You see, I'll take that back up. And see, look, I've already lost it. So that can happen. So sometimes you're holding it too long because I've been talking too much. So I'll put it back down flat and then go back and pinch it over again. Over time, mesh will hold the shape. You might know if you've ever stored a wreath the wrong way, and then you go to take it out the next year and it's all smushed. It will. If you take a blow dryer to it and you get it a little warm, it might fix it. But mesh will keep the shape you kind of force it into, especially if it's over a certain amount of time. So I'm going to take this mesh and I'm going to sandwich it between this tie and this tie, just as close to the base or the frame as I possibly can get it. And I'm going to pull them and twist them. And that's all I've done. So then there's one piece. And it looks like it's kind of big. Don't worry about it because we're going to fill it up. You can see in this one the mesh becomes part of an accent. So you can see a little bit of mesh here, but you can still see a lot of the evergreen swag between it. And 21-inch mesh. I don't believe so, only because this isn't very big. 21-inch mesh is this wide. And I was experimenting with that. Good question, Patricia. I was experimenting with that because I had a much prettier Christmassy mesh, but it was the 21-inch long mesh. When you cut it off of the roll on this side and this side, your finished edges that come from the manufacturer, the ones that don't fray, are 21 inches wide. This one is 10 inches wide. So you're going to have, instead of a ruffle this big, you're going to have a ruffle this big. If you try to cut it up in the middle, it will literally fall apart on you. If you guys have been able to find another way to do that, please let me know. But I did experiment with it. And the minute you pretend this was 21 inches, right? So I've got a piece here that's this wide, it's from here to here. And if I try to cut this in the middle, you have a frayed edge here and a frayed edge here. As soon as you get the 2 frayed edges together, it will literally just disintegrate. It just falls apart on you, and it doesn't give you the same effect because that ruffle comes off of these finished edges and it looks really, really cute. Unless you have a really, really big swag or maybe on a garland, a really big garland, you could cut it and do it the same way, but then you're not going to want to do 10 inches because this is 21 inches wide. You're going to want it to be proportionate. So I'm not even sure of what type of measurement you do, but I don't know that it would work out as well. I was seriously trying it with a little bit of leftover stuff that I didn't care about because it was just not even a couple feet left on a roll that I had done. And it did not work out. It just kept fraying and little pieces kept falling off and it kept coming off everywhere, all over the place. And then the dogs started to eat it. And then those other edges started snagging all my clothes. I started wearing an apron in here recently. I've ruined a couple shirts with the corners of the mesh. See, the mesh, I haven't done a solid mesh wreath for a very long time. I made a really pretty fall one for my front door, indoor, for the inside of my front door a couple years ago, and I absolutely love it. And it's massive. It's huge. And I love it. But I just think I need a little bit more practice with mesh wreaths. And it might not be my forte, you never know. It just might be something that I personally don't think that I do that well at. But I love to use mesh as an accent. I've been able to put it in so many different things. So this is the 4th piece. I'm going to make sure I have it on this bottom section. You see, I'm going to grab here. Here's my top section is here, bottom section is here. So I've already put 3 pieces in here, if you guys can see. It's just kind of evenly dispersed. So I'm going to put this guy right up here up top. And then I'll hold it up for you guys and show you again. And once you get that in there, just, it's really forgiving. You can tug on it and move it around and pull on it and get the ruffles where you want them, or push them over to one side, get some over to another side. There's no right or wrong way, and there's no rhyme or reason. So here's the bottom part. That's basically what you're aiming for. You just want a little bit of accent here and there. And the camera doesn't pick up on the shine as much as I want you guys to see. The pattern in this is really, really pretty. It's just solid red on red, but there's a really thick foil stripe in there that looks really pretty. So that's basically what we're looking for, is we're just mixing it all in. It almost looks like you put some thicker ribbon in there. Like you've just kind of weaved ribbon into the whole piece, and then we're about to weave some more ribbon into it all over. So here's my point. Okay. The first two of these guys I made, they face the same way. So this is the first one I've worked on that's facing me. It goes to the right. Those other guys went to the left. Also, the mesh is going to get covered. A lot of it will get covered. It's not something that every little tiny piece has to be seen. Because a lot of times this mesh will help hold up your project, or it's going to also be a foundation for you to glue stuff to. Sometimes if you're able to find maybe a less expensive swag, but it looks really sad because it's got a lot of holes in it, that's when you can start filling it. And you can do the exact same thing with burlap or a thicker fabric, but make sure the fabric isn't kind of floppy. You don't really want it to sag down, but like a thicker burlap. I did that with the scarecrow. I put slices, it was like I think 5.5 or 6 inch wide ribbon, and I did the little ruffle thing on that too. It really comes in handy on a lot of your projects if you need something to kind of like fill up your base, or I guess I'd say thicken up the project so that you have stuff to either glue to, or you have stuff that will adhere. And then here's the last guy. Yeah, no, yep. I agree with you, Patricia. You don't want to waste it. I hate wasting it. But if you know there's not enough left, that's my thing. That's usually when I'll start to experiment. If I know there's not enough left of any one thing, and there's no possible way I can figure that into maybe another little like ragtag piece of a bunch of meshed up little, I call it Heinz 57 stuff, and just throw it all together, I will use that to experiment with. That's also the best way you can do it. Your little pieces that you don't want to get rid of, but you also don't have anything to do with it, save them up, and then you might end up having some kind of crazy concoction. That's why I call it Heinz 57 in my family. It's like everything's just mixed together and it ends up tasting good. So that's what I'd say that's like the best thing to practice with, would be extra pieces of your leftover mesh. And let me tell you, when I tried that, yeah, it's also really good too, because then I can share that with you guys and save you some trouble. Unless you guys are able to experiment with that and you have some sort of success, you guys let me know, because that would be completely awesome. But as far as I know, and other people I've watched online, Facebook, YouTube, I haven't seen anyone. I've seen and heard the same thing, that the mesh, the 21-inch mesh will just fall apart. So here's the L shape. Again, you're not seeing much of an L at the moment. You see here, all the way across your L shape for the back. It might not look apparent now. It'll come up the more we add to it. So this is just your mesh. So now I'm going to cut this ficus guy apart, and I'm just going to add in all of my extra, oh no. Oh, they're in my other room because I was cleaning that craft room. I'll be right back. I need to grab my pliers, or my, my wire cutters. There we go. These guys, these are my favorite, most handy guys. I need to make sure I have them at all times, right? So here is your standard. We're going to use the whole pick. Ficus. It's a ficus pick from the floral stem departments. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, but you can get it at Michael's and Joann's too. I particularly like the one. There's two different kinds at Michael's. You can see this has a little bit lighter green on some of the edges. I like to use this one in all of them, all of my projects. I usually will tend to get this one instead of the darker one. Stacy, I don't know about adhesive spray on mesh because I usually when I'm making a mesh project, I don't tend to leave it with the frayed edges. Now this ruffle stuff does have a frayed edge, but I don't know if there is like an adhesive spray that you would want to spray it before you put on your ribbon and your other little accessories and stuff like that. I mean, I do know the little hack for glitter would be hairspray, but I don't think you want to spray your mesh wreath with hairspray. Because see, even right now I have all my mesh on my swag, but I don't want to spray it with anything, so I'm not sure about that. All I did there, guys, I cut all these little pieces off. I'm not using the metal or the wired part of it like I would if this was more of an arrangement with styrofoam, but I'm going to be using just my my glue pot, my hot glue skillet right down here, and I'm going to be nestling this inside of all these little areas in here. So it's going to go and adhere to the mesh and the evergreen part of the swag. So you guys tell me. First things first, just take it. If you want, what a lot of people like to do is you can just nestle things in there. Just grab it and throw it in. If you're a little concerned about placement, you know what I mean, before you don't want to just go at it, you know, glue happy, go at it. Just see if you like how you're kind of arranging things here. And again, a lot of this, you're not placing it because you don't, every little piece doesn't have to show. You don't have to make sure that it's basically, you know, in a display portion of it. But just set things in there and then see here. All I did was kind of nestle these in. And you get a good idea of what your end result is, and then basically say, okay, well, if you're a little unsure, place them all in. But then there's been times I've done that with other flowers and different projects where I've forgotten one or two things. So if you do that, then just tug on each of them and make sure that you've glued them in afterwards, because there's times I've put stuff up on the wall and it's just fallen out because I forgot to go back and glue it all. But with the ficus things, all I'm doing is I'm just using this stuff as filler, and the extra green, again, you wouldn't think of ficus as a Christmas type thing, but any kind of green, if you're going for more like a iced or a berry look, you could use like a lighter kind, like they have something called lamb's ear, and it's kind of a light fuzzier one. There's also one that looks more like a Dusty Miller. Those are, I mean, I'm not a green thumb. I just plant stuff in my yard and it grows, and you water it and sometimes it dies, but there's a thing called Dusty Miller out here in Las Vegas. It's drought tolerant, and it gets this fuzzy, it's like a light blue, almost gray, and it gets a fuzzy look to it. They make artificial bushes like that in the stem, in the floral stem area too. Anything like that looks good, I think, in any season. You can make it look, you can make it work with whatever you're doing. So if I was doing more of a snowflake theme or a white and silver with grays or blues, I would put some of those lighter colors in. This right here, it's considered what? It's a ficus, so basically it's a tree. And I'm going to be placing it in here in my evergreen. So here I'm just going to dip the end of this guy right here into my glue pot. And I'm not really crazily, you know, I'm not crazy putting a bunch of glue on the bottom of it. So I'm just going to lift it up and you're just going to get it in there. You don't have to like push down or hold anything down. The glue is hot enough in here that, you know, whatever it makes contact with, it'll dry and you will have a good hold. And for now, everything I'm tapping this into is basically just an accent. We're making sure that we get a little bit of depth all over the project. And then I save a few off, just if you want, keep a couple here. I'm going to keep 4, but I'm going to use 2 or 3. But I'm going to keep 4 off to the side, because those I'm going to use inside my bow. You guys know, if you've seen before, I'll show you again. Guaranteed I'll show you again. I like to add stuff and greenery and all that to the inside of my bow. I think it gives the bow depth, And I think it makes it look like it matches more of the project. So I put little greenery pieces, evergreen pieces, berries, anything that you have left over from your project already. I place that inside the bow, in different places of the bow. So don't be afraid to save pieces, or if you have like little remnant pieces that fall off, these little berries like are notorious for like extra pieces fall off. That's the best kind of stuff. You can stick those inside bows. And so my L shape is this way. I'm going to get a couple pieces in here. I'm going to put the rest of these in, and then I'll hold it up so you guys can see it. Stacy knows who Dusty Miller am. My sister has a lot of, we do a lot of, now I wouldn't say gardening because we're not like, well, I mean, she does some gardening too with vegetable gardening. And then remember, we're going to put a big old bow on this, so some of this will be covered, but there's different angles of your project. You know, if you're looking up at the door frame from down low, you're going to see a lot of these extra pieces that you put in. So I'm going to save 3 pieces for the bow, and I'm just going to put this extra one in here. And I'm just going to peek to see if there's anywhere else do I want to hang this. I think I'll put that on this side over here. I'm going to nestle it right in there. Yeah, I'm going to nestle that right down in there. We also have berries and these gold leaf items, little picks that we're going to put in it too. But this greenery is solely for the purpose of adding just a little bit of texture, a little bit of green texture. So this is also what we're ended with. So all we've done right now is mesh and some greenery. So 1 pick of evergreen and about 8 10-inch slices or cuts of mesh. That's all we did, ruffle technique, stuck that in there. Again, you can't really tell this 90-degree bend in it yet. That's why a lot of times you just push that forward. A lot of times you need that extra bulb to hang to make it longer on one side. Can't say that word. So next I'm going to do the bow. And this one's a little bit special only because I'm not going to do the tails long. I'm going to put the tails on it first. So this is actually pretty nifty. Alright, so there's the top of it. So what I like to do is I get all my ribbon ready at one time. So I take all of the wrapping off of it. And then the first edge, I'll put that dovetail finished end on it first. So it's just a habit. I don't know really why I do it. But whichever end I'm starting with, right off the roll, I just take it, fold it in half, and I do what they call that dovetail end on it. So I'm cutting away from myself, or cutting towards myself to put in that little... I do that on every single one, whatever I'm starting. And here, maybe you can see a little bit better. Here's the ribbon. You can see there, it has a little bit of gold metallic stripe through it. Really, it's a really pretty plaid. And then this guy is a sheer ribbon, metallic. It has a tiny bit, it's got little silver in it, but you really have to look close to it. You'd have to be up close to it to see that silver. So in this instance, it's still going to work very well with our red and gold theme. And then let me know if you guys see anything or you want to see something closer up. Whoops. We're going to need pipe cleaners, but that's for the bow part. Right now, all I'm doing here is I'm going to put what would look like the tails. So I'm going to put the tails in the piece first, and then we're going to make a very different type of bow with really short tails on it, and we're going to nestle that in the middle. So these pieces I'm doing now will look like they're very long tails attached into the bow, and it's a lot easier to do it this way. So I just start with the first ribbon. Here's the thicker, these are both, I have 2 2.5-inch ribbons and one, oh my gosh, is this 2.5 or is it? Yeah, 2 different 2.5-inch wide ribbons and one 1-inch ribbon. Is it 1 or 1.5? 1.5 inch. So 2 2.5, 1 1.5. Sorry guys. So first I'm going to do is, I got my L shape here, so I know my corner piece is here. This is where we're going to take one of these ties, or these little, these evergreen ties, and we're going to use the top piece here. We're going to pick a center point, and we're going to attach it here. So all I'm doing is I'm taking a longer piece, and I'm going to take this and guesstimate, just guess at how long I want this piece to be on here. So I'm going to hold it up here where I plan to attach it, and then look at where I want to add like a ruffle type thing. What I'm going to do is place another tie piece in here to get this piece to come out at you. So I don't want it to be longer than the swag, but I am going to need a little bit more slack because I still want this to look like a ruffle of the ribbon. So I'm going to pull it just a little bit, maybe another inch from where I want it. Because we're going to nestle this down deep in here to get it tied in. And that's where you want to have a little bit more extra slack on this side. And then worst case scenario, if you make it too long, you can just cut that extra inch off the end. Now I know I hate saying that because that means you got an extra inch of ribbon that you would possibly waste, but I don't throw that away either, you guys. I have a little box of ribbon remnants. If they're big enough, I save them. So I'm going to do that here. And I'm going to pick two of these guys in here, and then I'll pick it up and show it to you on the camera. I leave it attached to the spool. I don't cut it off yet. I'm going to do that with this one and this one as well before I cut them on the other end. You can attach them if you want. It's not like a... what's the word? It's not, I'm not going to say prerequisite, but it's not like it's a system of a certain specific order you have to do anything in. It's just easier. So I'm only going to put one twist in this here. And then I'm going to find, maybe I want this ribbon to come up closer on this side, maybe right down in here. And you'll see what I mean. Just, they're all going to come out from the same spot, but you don't want them to go into the same spot down here. So I'm just picking this point right here in the middle down there, and I'm going to twist that down in there. And that's sort of the idea you're going for, because you want this tail to stick out right here so you can see that. So here, I'll show you guys. It's still connected up at the top. I picked a point here. Where are we at here? Here we go. I picked a point in my project here. So here's the long part, and then my L goes this way. I picked my point here. This is where we're going to put the big bow once we make it. But we're going to put all the streamers starting from one spot, and they're going to come out and go into different spots going up, and then on the short side going to the left, we're going to put that in the same spot here. So I've just twisted it in. If you see here, I use these two evergreen pieces like a twist tie, and then I've done the same thing here. I've just nestled it way down deep into the project, and it's basically at the base. So now you can move and fluff your ribbon. Remember, we also still have berries and another gold accent to add to this. So you still have a little bit more room to fill things in. So this piece goes down, this piece goes off to the right, like that. Possibly like this. Okay, so now the next guy here. If it's too, let me put it this way. If it starts to get a little bit too confusing and kind of messy for you, just cut this one off. And I don't know if I did. I think I did that on the very first one, but I didn't do it on this one because I wanted them to look a specific way. Now, they're not going to be identical. These are not matching pieces. I mean, they're going to be similar, but they're, I mean, obviously the similar materials, but they're not going to match identical in the least. They're definitely not butterflies. And that only occurs in nature, right? So, same thing here. I'm going to kind of guesstimate. Now, this one I want a little bit longer because I want it to come longer than I have this one. Only comes down one. I'm going to have this guy come down one spot below this one. So, it also might be something to where I might do a twist tie here and then another one down here. No, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. you'll get a sense of how you really want the ribbon to look, and then also where the mesh is too. It's only going to give you a certain amount of leeway. So leave this one this way. Just going to guess here. This is about how long I want it. You see this? So I'm going to open the tie where I have the plaid one, and I'm going to put this ribbon right down on top of it. Nothing's gonna pop out, and it's not like this is such a lightweight project that your pieces aren't really riding on an absolute really tight, secure seal. A lot of this stuff, other than the hot glue, is something that you could take apart. So I mean, if you wanted to switch out your ribbon color, I mean, you could even switch out the mesh if you didn't hot glue anything to it. So if you wanted to switch stuff out the next year, you can. There's no rhyme or reason to say that you can't, pick the color and change it, because we're not permanently adhering anything. I mean, you could also use zip ties. You could take this and zip tie it to the base in here, and then you don't have to worry about twist tying it onto your oh my gosh, evergreen. So you don't have to worry about the evergreen pieces getting twisted or anything like that. It's very forgiving. Pretty. Thank you, Juanita. I'm glad to have you with me. I'm gonna pull. Now, see, I've already twisted this end to end. If you can see here, I've twisted this in, but here, I want this to be a little bit longer. So I'm going to try and pull it. It's not letting me pull it. So I'm going to undo it. I'm going to pull that open. And I have to actually undo this one now because I didn't give myself enough space. So I'm going to undo this pinch mark here, and I'm going to go in about another 1.5 inches. Nestle that one back on top. See, it's where, like, if you didn't measure correctly for your own preference, like I didn't, there's no actual measurements on here. I wanted that tail to be longer right there. Just untie those evergreens. And then twist it back together. And again, they're all wired ribbons, so even after you store this girl for the year, if it gets smushed down on top of stuff, the wire and the ribbon, you're able to just pop it back up and refluff it. So here's my two pieces coming down the long side. I know it kind of looks a little messy, you guys, sorry, because this piece hasn't been done yet. I think I'm going to finish the top, and then I'm going to do the gold separately, because I like the gold to have a little bit more of a presence in the front. So what I'm going to do is turn the piece so that the top part, this is the top of it, this is facing me. That's the part that goes on the top of the door. This piece is facing me right here. So I've got my two pieces, and let me grab this guy, because this plaid one is the first one we worked with. Again, if you didn't want, you can do this one at a time. There's nothing that says that you need to leave them connected, because it's getting a little cumbersome trying to deal with all this good stuff at one time. So I'm looking here. My bend is where we attached it. So here's the 90-degree angle comes right here. Faces me this way. I'm going to take this guy, because the gold one I'm going to have come here. So my idea is I'll have it alternate when you're looking at the front. You've got gold then plaid, and here is gold then plaid. I'm going to do the same thing. Gold polka dot plaid. I'm going to have the gold polka dot come here in the plaid. So I'm going to keep the plaid up here on this, more up here at this top piece. Right there. Okay. And then also, the bow itself is probably going to cover most of this up top here. But if you make your loop big enough, you should be able to have it kind of fluff out the back or the top side of it, so you can use that to your advantage to fluff up the behind the scenes of your bow. This is going up against a mirror in my bathroom. So I kind of wanted it to have, I'm not sure how much of it will show from behind on the mirror. I'm pretty confident everything will be fine, as opposed to like having too much showing on the back, because this is going to be pretty full. once we get the other bow on it. And then here I just guesstimated because I don't want to have to put like a long curl in these. I just want these kind of to be their own little streamer, because this is the tail itself. I just wanted it to kind of stick out on its own. So I cut it just a little bit short right here, put a little curl in it. So now this guy, I want to come forward more, like right down here onto this piece. Because again, we're going to put the bow right here in the middle. I'm not sure if you guys can hear my husband. He's playing a video game in another room. He's got headphones on, so I'm sure he can't hear what's going on. Yeah, and sometimes I play those games with him too, so I can attest to you can't hear what's going on when you have the headphones in. So if he starts screaming in excitement and you guys can hear that on the video, it's because he's winning, so that's a good thing. Did you guys have any questions for me, or do you have any, let me ask you this, how many people are still decorating for Christmas? I have taken my fall stuff down, but I still haven't gotten to my Christmas mantle. And I love my mantle just because I put these really pretty beads and garlands that hang off the mantle, and I absolutely love it. So you guys tell me, how many of you guys still need to decorate for Christmas? I mean, again, today's only December 5th. It's not like Christmas is definitely not over by any means. It just feels weird for me because I normally have all my Christmas stuff done, usually the weekend of Thanksgiving. That's why the fall tree even happened. The fall tree was supposed to be the easy part of having it out so early, because then on that weekend where everyone's eating all the food, you already have the hardest part up. The tree is up, so then take the leaves off of it and then go get your Christmas bulbs. Well, it since has turned into a little bit more of a project, which is why it takes me so long to get everything off the fall tree. Oh, Yolanda, all you have up is your tree so far. Nice. Well, that works, right? I mean, it depends on how much you plan to have out. I normally don't decorate my bathrooms for Christmas, but I thought these would look good on either side of the mirror. So normally I don't put a lot of stuff. Like, I usually concentrate everything to kitchen, living room, and entry hall. And then there's like a few things, because I do have that small pencil tree in my master bedroom so I can see it. But I don't really like cover the house in Christmas. There's like little things on door handles and stuff, but I know people that'll do that for Halloween. They have shower curtains and rugs and towels and all kinds of stuff everywhere, and then they pack everything up every year. So oh yes, Helen, that's exactly what I did with my grandma. That's so awesome. I loved going to my grandma's house and helping her with her tree. Now, granted, my grandma started her tree in October. She did very, very detailed stuff. I mean, then again, she was also a very talented retired woman, and she would sit and make all these things, but she had some really pretty vintage bulbs. And then it wasn't until I was old enough that I was, you don't let them little kids touch some of them glass bulbs, because when I was little, there was no shatterproof anything. If you broke it, Grandma was very mad. But yes, yes, Helen, that is exactly what I did with my grandma. I missed that so much. I loved all of her stuff. All of her stuff was awesome. And I've got some of it, and my mom does too. Those are the best memories. They really are. Love having people over to decorate. We used to, and that's another thing for Thanksgiving. The family's already over. I could kind of put them to work a little bit after we get, you cook for 10 hours, you eat for 30 minutes, then you eat again. And then you clean for 6 hours, and then I put them to work and help me decorate for another 2 or 3 hours. And then we come back on the Friday after, and we eat leftovers, and I have them help me decorate again. And outside lights are up, tree is up, but not decorated. Second tree to go. Nice. No yikes, that's nice. That's really nice. My husband was putting the Christmas lights up. He was going to do it on Sunday, but I had him help me in that massive mess of a craft room. So I had to have him build me some new racks. So he'll be putting the lights up either. I'm not sure if he wants to do it after work this week, but we'll have the lights up on the outside of the house. So that's really good, because I mean, out where I'm at, our HOA will actually tell us to take the lights down 10 days after whatever holiday it is. So the outside lights don't get to stay up as long as the stuff inside my house. I say when I take that stuff down. But that's awesome. That's really awesome. You got Christmas lights up. Do any of you guys go around looking at Christmas lights on houses? Is that like a thing in other states? I mean, I'm not sure because of how cold it gets in other states, but here when I was little, my mom and my sister and I, we would drive around every holiday season and just peek at everybody's lights. There's a lot of people that will do some really cool stuff, like a whole cul-de-sac. Like a whole entire cul-de-sac will just deck out all of their driveways and their houses, and then more recently people like have food trucks come out and you can get hot chocolate. It's still cold here, obviously, to Las Vegas, but I don't know. Do you guys go out and look at lights and stuff in those places where it snows? You guys let me know. Is it too snowy, or has it started snowing yet? I don't even know how to gauge that. Does it snow this early, or is it like a January thing? I'm just tying in the gold now, and the only thing I'm worried about is I think that might be a little bit too long, so if it is, I'm just going to cut it off, but I'm going to wait till the end and I'll show you guys. So I'm just adding an extra piece of gold ribbon in here, the same way that I did the 2.5-inch ribbon. This one I'm going to leave a little bit shorter. Okay, so I'm going to cut this guy real short. All right, guys, so now we are on to, now I'm just on to the big bow. And here, let me hold this guy up and I'll show you. You could stop right here, and this is what I was saying before. If you just wanted to add these tails in, all you do, you cut a long strip of ribbon, and you're literally fastening it in different places in the swag or in the evergreen. You're just going to use those like a twist tie, like a bread tie or anything like that. And you just find points to where you like the size of the loops and the placement. And then basically you have all your ribbon tied in. And then here's your longer piece here, and here's your shorter piece for the top. And you'll see here, again, if you get confused, just take a peek at the back and you'll see which direction you got it facing. So for here, we're going this way. And then here is, I'm going to make a loop, or what I call a lazy bow. Again, I love making these bows. They're super, super, just to me, they're really easy, because even if you're holding or you're struggling with holding them, if they kind of unravel a little bit, it's super forgiving, because once you get that pipe cleaner on there and you fasten it on, you can twist it any way you want. And then we're going to start gluing stuff into it. So here's where I would say, if you're not comfortable with making the loops of a bow, and all we've done here is just tie in strands or long streamers to make tails, this is where you could take those pieces I told you, guys, you can find these in the gift wrapping aisle, and this is that ribbon that's a little bit more, this is more of a fabric ribbon. This isn't like that cellophane or the plasticky curling ribbon. This is a thicker, I don't even know if it's wired. Is it wired? Yeah, this is actually wired. Anyways, this came on the gift wrapping aisle. You could take one of these guys right here, you know, pull it off of the carton, wrap a twist tie, or wrap a chenille stem or a pipe cleaner, whatever you call it, wrap it around the middle of it, and you can nestle that guy right there in the middle. And then you don't have to make a bow. And that also helps if you've got carpal tunnel or arthritis, those types of things, to where you can't sit and hold the bow. These are already made for you, and then they're also a lot quicker too, and they're not the cheapy plastic ones. I was really happy when I found these. So again, you just take this guy, or you can use both of them together and just twist tie these guys right here in the middle. And here, let me try to hold that, and I'll see if I hold it together. That looks like a finished piece already, and you guys don't really have to make a bow because you got your streamers coming out. I'm going to make a bow, but that's also an option I just thought of when I was shopping, so I grabbed a couple, and I thought these would actually look good. I bought these with the purpose of putting them in my elf legs arrangement, and I completely forgot about them. So I'm sure I will find something to do with them though, because I don't ever let stuff go to waste. I usually just let it sit around and get dust on it, and then eventually I use it. But these were a good option to where if you don't want to make the bow, you can throw those in on like that. And then here are the other ones. Now again, these are silver. You don't want to put silver and gold and red, but it really doesn't, it doesn't diminish the look that you're going for. It looks really, really, really cute. So here I'm going to start my lazy bow or sloppy bow. I don't really know why I call it that. It's technically, it's just kind of, I wouldn't even call it floppy. It's just my favorite kind of bow. So grab one chenille stem, pick a color, any color. I'm going to use dark brown. I have beige and yellow. Oh, I just bought a bunch. You know, they're not in here. I just bought a bunch of colors so that I could use a red one. But I used brown on that one. It's only going to show on the back of it. So you're not going to cut it. You're just going to leave it the way it is. And then here, I'm only going to make small tails. So it's enough to where I know it's going to stick out just a little bit. It's not going to be a big tail, but it's going to just basically almost stick straight up out of your project. So I'm only going to make that. I think that's probably about what, like, it's only about maybe 3 inches, 4 inches long, and pinch it. And all I'm doing is guesstimate. I just guess to see how big I want to make loops. We're going to push this down into the project. Oh, hi, Gail. First time seeing me live. Always miss you live. No problem. Well, I'm glad you're with me. I'm glad you're able to make it. And then also, if you want to watch the playback, YouTube will have it up once we're done. And then, Facebook will have it up once I'm done. And I'll put it on YouTube. So you can always go back and refer to it. So pinch it, twist it. We're going to be pushing this down into the project. So you want to know if you have enough of a loop. I guess it's what we're trying to say here. You can place it in here and see, is that loop going to be big enough? It will. I'm only doing 2 of each because I have 2 2.5 inch ribbons. So we're going to have 2 loops here, 2 loops here. And then I do 3 or 4 on this guy. Let me see. What did I do here? I did not. I did 2. I did 3 or 4 on the other wreath I made when I used the different ribbon. Oh, I believe I used this guy on the picture I have on Facebook of the first one I made. So I'm only doing the 2 loops here. And now this is actually double-sided. It doesn't really matter. So you don't really need to do much twisting. Just kind of gather it in your hands and hold it. And then here's where I'm just going to cut this off straight. And I'm just guessing by how long this one is. I just guessed and cut it off there. So here's where you can actually take this and now you can hold it in your thumb. You just hold that. Now I'm not squeezing it. I'm not really using any strength. I'm just holding it that way. Move on to my second one. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm holding it, engaging it next to this guy. So I've got the 2 same lengths. And I'm just going to push it in and squish it and pinch it like that. Make my loop, bring it in. It's about the same size. I'm not concerned so much with symmetry. I like some of the oddball looking stuff. And then this one I do have to twist because it's the polka dots are only on one side. Bring it back up. It's about even with this guy here. Pinch it, and then you have to twist this one to get the front facing on that last tail. So you just twist it. And I'm gonna guess on this guy here. We're only making these long enough to just stick straight out because we've already put our tails in the project. And then again, once I get this tied into the project, I will dovetail the other raw edges I have on here. So this guy I'm going to put right straight dab in the center. Now, when you're making the bow, these are going to be side by side, but what you can do is you can kind of work things around once you tie it with wire or your chenille stem. Or your pipe cleaner. Or actually, what are they called? Does anybody know why they're called? Are they made out of chenille? I've always called them pipe cleaners. And I don't even know if that's... It's one of those weird questions. You guys have any answers? I don't really know. Yeah, this box says chenille stem. Okay. Once you get it wrapped with your chenille stem, you can kind of pull and tug on stuff. It's very forgiving. It doesn't really it won't get too angry at you. This gold ribbon is sheer, so it's two-sided. It doesn't matter which way it is, so you don't have to do twisting. You can literally just make your loop, pinch it, make your loop, pinch it, and cut. That's how easy it is. If you want to make sure you get those types of ribbons, then you don't have to do the twisting, because it doesn't matter if you accidentally drop your project. You'll see your pinch marks. You can place it right back on top again. So I picked this guy off because, again, all I did was pinch it, and I'm going to put it right on the top of both of these here, because I sort of made it off to one side. Sometimes it's easier to pull things a little bit left and right while you're still holding it in your hand as far as before you put the stem on it. So I'm just going to kind of arrange the tails on here left and right before I get that chenille stem on it. And then once I get it in my project, I'll be tugging along everywhere. So here's where I've got, this one goes on this side. Okay, so here's where we're holding it in the middle. You take your pipe cleaner chenille stem. I just kind of bend them in half. Doesn't have to be even. And wrap that right around the middle where you were holding it. And then as tight as possible, I kind of pull things and hold it. And then I just twist and twist and twist. Usually don't have to twist too much. It's not going to come loose at this point. And you don't want to have this piece too long. It depends on the project you're working on. This is forgiving, it doesn't matter. You could twist it all you want. But I'm also using this extra stuff to fasten it to the wreath now. So I'm going to cut my tails. You don't have to do this step now. You can wait. I don't think I'm going to cut these any shorter, but I kind of want to cut them now before I get them on the piece. And then if for any reason you guys don't like, say you don't like the placement, or you don't like how long one is opposed to the other, it might like interfere with some other piece that you have in there. Just cut it. Just cut it again. It's very forgiving. So here's where I'm just going to fuss with it just a little bit. And this, I'm very guilty of doing this habitually because it's going to get crushed again while I'm working on it and when we add the berries to it. But for some reason I can't ever just not mess with the bow. Here's the L shape, long piece here, and it's going back this way. We're going to place the bow right in the dead center so that when you hold the piece up and you put it on your door, here's the bow. You see how that works? So there's where we attached all the tails we already put in. We're adding the bow right on top of that. So it looks as though you put really long tails on your project, but I mean, in order to try to guesstimate how long you would need that, to me, that's just so much work. So I just put the tails in separately. I've seen a few other people do that too. And you can also do just one tail really long attached to the bow and then put the other one in on your own. But for me, it was much simpler just to cut the long piece and find its little loops where you want to place it. So here's where we're taking that project, and there's your center, or here's your piece where you twisted all these guys in, which is right back here on the bend part. So we're going to feed our pipe cleaner through to the back, and we're going to feed it through the back, and we're going to wire it right to the corner of this bend. So it's basically as middle, as the center of the bend as you can get it to be. So this is just where you kind of have to look at your piece and feed your pipe cleaner in around it so that you can get it around one corner. And then feed it down around. See, I've got a piece of mesh, and I've got a piece of mesh in here, and I have a ficus leaf item, pick piece that I cut that's kind of arguing with me just a little bit. So I'm going to have to take this mesh piece and push it up. There we go. Okay. So I had to pull this piece of mesh up and put my pipe cleaner around it here. It wasn't going on the other side of it. It wouldn't allow it. It's very angry about that. So I gave him what he needed. And don't be afraid to pull this tight. Your bow is still going to show at the top of the door frame. It's meant to be an accent. I figure everything in an item you make is an accent to something else. Nothing has to be like a focal piece. And don't be afraid if things start to get hidden. Sometimes I've had issues where I've spent a lot of money on something very expensive, like a pick or a ribbon, and you can't see it. Then yes, obviously stop what you're doing and pull it out and fix it if that was your main event is not showing. These pieces are going to be up high enough to where I don't want to put too much in them because they're too far off from your field of view, but they're just pretty enough, then they catch just enough sparkle that not any one piece of the project is your main event. I like to call it the main event. I always say that. Sometimes called craft sticks. Years ago, you bought pipe cleaners literally used to clean pipes. Yeah, I mean, I think my grandma used something in the kitchen, but I think they're called bottle brush cleaners or something, and those things will cut you if you weren't careful. Found useful in our projects. Then they evolve different colors longer. Oh yeah, I believe it's Sally. Usually, isn't that how most of this stuff happens? You go out and you find something like, I bet you I could use that. Any of you guys have like the husband with the tool shed or the really beautiful, or whether it's not beautiful, but the precious tools? I've done many things with hammers and screwdrivers, and as far as not their intended purpose. You're like, what did you do with that? Oh, I used it to rip apart X, Y, and Z, and it wasn't really supposed to be for that. My husband's not really a huge like tool man. He's more of a computer techie nerd guy, but he has special uses for certain screwdrivers and certain pieces of things he uses for computer work and stuff like that he normally probably says he would prefer me not to abuse in my craft room. That's probably where all that started, was someone's like, I need something to hold this bow together. And they went out to the garage or something like that. That would be kind of... I definitely see that happening. Alright guys, we are almost done. Here is basically, you could stop here. You're going to put this up at the top. It's just ribbon, mesh, and a ficus pick. So here is the bow itself. So there's the back. There's the top. There's what you're looking at for the bow. And then here's your shorter piece for the top of the frame, longer piece for the bottom of the frame. And that's basically what we're looking at for that piece there. Now I forgot to cut these things off. I'm probably only going to use 3 of them. So give me 5 seconds, guys. Remember this little trick? I will tell you guys about it if you haven't seen my last video. This was a 9-foot evergreen garland that I got on clearance last year. And Michael's is now selling their 9-foot garlands for $3. Last weekend they had a 25% off your whole purchase. So I bought 2-3 garlands for this exact purpose for next year to literally rip them apart. So here's my garland. I'm taking my wire cutters and I'm cutting these pieces off. Because even for $3, that is still a good deal. You're looking at some of those evergreen picks, those fancy picks you can get at the stores, and they're like $6 for a small amount. I've got 9 feet of all these little ends, and what I do is, because they're kind of crazy looking for the garland, I take them and I cut them at a diagonal. I gotta do it over my trash can, so I'll show you guys. Quick tip. Just cut it at a diagonal. You're basically trimming it to make it look more like a finished piece, make it look a little bit more nice, high-end, I don't know, expensive, fancy. You're kind of tapering it. So now it looks like this. So this is what it looked like when I cut it off the garland. And this is what it looks like after you literally just cut a couple pieces off of it. So what I'm going to do is I take this guy goes on top, and I push this one, and I fill it down into the bows. I just kind of stick it into the bow just to give it more height, and then it fills all the little holes so you can't see down deep in there and see how deep things go. You don't have any holes, anything. Oh, Andrea, you saw the post of my husband in the store. Yeah, he's a nut, which is why I love him. He also chases me around the store with nutcrackers. I have like a small not phobia. Well, it's not like I guess mild, very mild phobia. I just don't like nutcrackers. My mother and my grandmother love them. They think they're cute. I don't like that their mouth's open. Something's weird. So Hobby Lobby always has a huge display of nutcrackers. He will go find those nutcrackers and just place one in the cart when I'm not looking, right next to my purse or somewhere when I'm going to organize something. Or he'll chase me around the store with it, you know, talking to me. And yeah, that's why I can't take him with me to the craft store. That picture I put on Facebook, you guys saw of my husband at the craft store, that was just this past weekend. I had to go back to Hobby Lobby for pipe cleaners. I needed the different colors. And as you can see, I don't have him in here with me because I would have used a red one. But yeah, he's a nut. Also, same trip, he went into the kids aisle and found those little foam sheets and stuff, and apparently they have hats there, and he wore one of the safari hats on his head for a while. It's actually pretty much all he can do to embarrass me. That's probably what that's I guess part of the deal. I signed up for it, I guess, right? Okay. So there. I cut all these little guys, so now they're all little finished edges. So see, not even a minute or a couple minutes each, and I got 4 little pieces that look super cute. Also, I still have these extra little ficus clippings that I'm going to probably use, at least 2 of them in the bow. So I'm just getting all that stuff ready for the bow. Now I'm going to cut apart my berries, and after that, we're just literally going to nestle this stuff inside here in different places. It's all about finding your own preference or happiness with your placement of items. Take your pick and just kind of pull it apart, and they'll naturally separate. See how I just basically pulled that one down, I pulled that one down. All these picks will naturally separate, and then I just cut them off. I'm going to leave them as they are. I don't want to, well, I mean, this one would be hard to cut apart even more just because of the way these leaves are made. That's not going to be long enough if I cut that here. That won't be long enough to place anywhere in the project. So I have 4 of these. I'm just going to start taking items. And let's see, on this guy, so I'm looking at the one I already did. Now, I don't want them to be exact, but I am going to try to place at least these guys in similar places just for a little bit of a mirror effect. It's nowhere near going to be the same, and when I get the pictures up, you guys will see. It's not going to be the same whatsoever, but I am going to try to nestle some of the stuff just sort of in the same vicinity as on the other ones. And since I only have 4 pieces of this, I sort of want this to be just a little bit more prevalent. I want it to show in the project. And all I'm doing is just kind of tucking them in here and there. And then this is where I was saying before, your placement. Tuck your items in and then take a step back and look at it, and if you like it, then go ahead and glue them. So all I've did is just nestled these guys in. That's all I did. I just kind of poked them in, and they're all not falling out. And I'm digging what I see. I really like it. So I'm going back now. I'm remembering the placement where I pulled it out at, and I'm going to put this guy here in my glue pot. And I'm just going to place them right back in where I pulled them out from. And so now we are gluing it to the mesh, the evergreen, some of the ficus picks, and now the ribbon also, since these ribbon tails have become part of the project. This is where it comes into play, where you may not be able to change out your ribbon unless you skip this step. You know, if you just want mesh and ribbon and a bow on the evergreen, stop there, because it would be it just adds just a tiny bit. And it also depends on, you know, how much detail you want to put in it. Sometimes it doesn't really matter if I guess it's horrible to say, but this going in my my spare bathroom, our guest bathroom, it's just a half bath up front of the house. So that's the one all the guests use, or when guests not ribbon. I said ribbon because I have ribbon scissors. when family and friends come over for holidays, those types of things, that little half bath gets a lot of traffic. If that's, I mean that in the most non-weird way, guys. Everyone has those high traffic areas in your house when you have guests or neighbors. If you're having a party, a holiday party, or a get-together, this is going to add just a tiny little bit of extra. And it's going to look super cute just on each corners, both of the corners of the mirror. Here I'm going to take my berries, and I want to leave this, I believe I left them in twos. 1, 2, I cut this one into threes somehow. What I'm going to do here is, I'm going to cut this guy, I'm going to cut this guy into threes and just get that one to work for me. So I'm going to make my first cut right here in the middle of this bottom piece. And I'm going to make it kind of at a diagonal. And I'll show you. So now I have this as a pick that's going to go inside, and then here's my other pick starts here. So that's where it was originally. So you can cut it there, and you can make picks out of all these guys. So I'm going to do the exact same thing again right here. This one I'm going to leave with these 3 pieces on it and leave it a little bit bigger. I'm going to kind of just bend stuff a little left and right, get it to look a little crazy. And I'm doing the exact same thing with my gold berries. Oh, that's actually a good one. I'm going to save that. So the exact same thing with my gold berries. I really appreciate all you guys being here with me, taking the time out of your day to stop and watch and chat and join me in my crazy hectic craft room. It's getting organized. It'll be there. It's really nice to have you guys with me. It's really nice to know that you guys are interested in just watching somebody have an idea, throw some stuff together. It's also really fun to share my ideas with you guys, and it's also very rewarding to know that a lot of you guys have said that you've tried out projects and you've been able to make some things. And I've also learned some stuff from you guys too. I get a good amount of messages of tips and hints and tricks of things that I would have never known or tried before. So it's beneficial to me as well. I absolutely love doing this. It's so much fun now. So my goal is to get this to grow, and then I'll be able to do more of them. And then hopefully just continue on and make this like a full-time thing. Maybe even become an instructor. I don't know. I just know that this makes me happy, and you guys make me happy, so I appreciate all of it. I appreciate all you guys, just visiting and staying with me and joining me for this ride. It's been so much fun so far. And I've only been doing this for a few months. I didn't know what to expect. I just took a chance. I did one of those things where it said, I need to try something outside my comfort zone and see what happens. And I'm so happy I did. So thank you to everybody who watches and comments and sends me likes and shares. And if you share my video, please feel free to do so. Absolutely. That's like my little kudos, good job kind of thing. It gets my page a little bit more traffic, gets me noticed in the places I need to be noticed. So appreciate all you guys. And Kimberly says, I have encouraged you. That's really good. I'm glad. I kind of try to take the same approach that I took when I was starting out. I've been doing crafts for a long time, and even the seasoned people that I used to watch, you evolve. Like everything you do, if you go back and I take a look at the first wreath I ever made, it's not something that you would want to really look at now. But that's because techniques are developed and materials are developed and new stuff comes out all the time. And even as a creator or an artist yourself, you evolve and you change and you learn more stuff. So everything continues to get better and everything changes. I just take the approach of, I'm assuming that you guys want to know as much as I want to know. And let me tell you, I want to know a lot. I'm a fairly nosy crafter. If there's a new technique or a new item out there, I'm like, oh, how is that? How do you use it? What do you do with it? So any way I can get in there and try to, I don't want to use the word weasel, but I don't really know if it's not weaseling, because I'm sharing it with everybody. So anytime I can get any little tips and tricks and things, I'm just so eager to share. I don't know. I've wanted people to share with me, and in the past I've come across people who are just a little bit too, I don't know how to say it, but they feel as though maybe you're competition or you're trying to steal from them. And I don't see it that way. I think there's enough business for everybody. And I also think that what we're doing is nothing new. Ribbon, bows, wire, Christmas decoration. It's been around forever. This isn't like a secret. There's a book and a YouTube channel and videos and on every shelf in every corner. It's not something that's going to be like a secret. And it's so much fun to share with you guys. It really is. This is what I've done so far. All I did was stick those berries in. I just found an open spot and nestled berries in. That's all I've done. So now I'm going to go through, glue them all in, and then I'm going to put the extra pieces in the bow, and then I'm going to show you how I attached the ornaments. I'm not going to attach these ornaments on it because I already did it on this one. I want to do that while they're hanging up, but I'll show you guys exactly how I do it. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Nothing's going to be skipped. I'm just not going to actually attach it to, I'll hold it in there, but I'm not going to wire it to the piece yet because I'm going to do that. It's much easier. If you guys ever make one of these, first off, if you make one, send me a picture. I want to see them. I love to see the stuff you guys make. Absolutely love it. It's easier for me, in my opinion, once you hang this guy where you want her to go, you can then see where and how to, which branch you want to tie your pipe cleaner to. Because I'm basically putting the shatterproof bulbs, I'm just wrapping a pipe cleaner through the top of them. And I'll show you guys exactly how I do that. I'm putting a pipe cleaner through the top. And, oh, this is so cute. It's so easy. It's literally fun. Now, obviously, this is a long amount of time you guys are spending with me because I'm, good at talking. Very, very much. Apparently, I'm a talker. I'm a very good talker. But if you sit down with this project and you just need to kind of crank out a couple of them for your living room, your kitchen, wherever. Oh, see, now this fell apart. I cut that one a little bit too close. So what I'm going to do is, this guy came apart. So now we have to fix it. I want to keep these three together because I want that to be more berries together. So what I'm going to do is, you guys have ever used floral tape? This is where it comes in handy. This little tape, it's not sticky when you first touch it. You get it in these, well, this is really old. I don't know. Comes in this little bag, the floral department. This is a really old one, so I don't even know if it looks like this anymore. Floral tape is obviously for fresh florals. I use it for, I guess it's for anything. It's artificial too. And it's just this papery type stuff. Once you pull on it, it activates like a sticky, whatever it's made out of, it activates like a little sticky, and it sticks to itself. So what I'm going to do is unravel some of it. So I'm holding my piece together here because this guy came off. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to wrap it around. You just get it started on itself, right? So I have it started on there, but then you have to pull on this a little bit and then pull and twist. Pull and twist. And that's when you'll feel it get sticky in your fingers once you pull hard enough. If you pull too hard, you'll just rip it. Keep wrapping it. And then you'll eventually get to know that you've pulled it a little bit too tight. So just pull and wrap, pull and wrap. Pull and wrap, pull and wrap. And then what I do is I just pull too hard at the end and it sticks to your finger. And then I just wrap it around. So that's how I fix that. Because I want that to stay together. And it won't come apart. That sticky part, it's pretty good. It's almost like a, it's almost like a ace bandage. You put it a little bit too tight, it's not going to come apart. So that's how I fix that. That happens a lot sometimes with these picks. As soon as I cut them apart, they literally will just disintegrate. So then I'm going to get, and then I use the brown tape for the brown, and then there's green tape. I think I've seen white, I'm not absolutely sure, but I've never come across the need for any yet. But I use this brown, and I'm just going to nestle it. It's not going to show in your project because I'm going to put this down deep into the base of that right there. There we go. Just making sure I've glued everything in. That's what I meant when I told you guys, just take a little, just tug on a few things here and there. Okay, everything's glued in. So here I'm just going to start nestling stuff into my bow and then putting in the ornaments, and we're done. And let's see, Andrea, adhesive. Yeah, it's a sticky adhesive. It's exactly perfect. Thank you for, there's a word that I couldn't think of. Thank you. And then, yes, thank you for sharing. You're welcome, Kimberly. It's my pleasure. And Dana, watching this. Bedtime, North Carolina. Oh, I bet it is. You guys are, what, 3 hours ahead? Yep. No worries. The finished project will be on YouTube and Facebook. See, all I'm doing here is I'm taking these ficus pieces and I'm putting a little glue on the end of them. And I'm separating the bow and I'm sticking it down in between the loops of the bow. So this is what you get. You get pops of green coming out of your bow loops. And it looks like the piece is kind of grown. I personally love putting stuff in my bows. I cannot leave a bow alone. I don't know why. It's just a habit. And I do the same thing with these picks that we cut off of the evergreen. This is going to tie in the rest of the evergreen into the middle of the bow. So it looks like it's one huge piece that kind of just ribbon and nature grew together. It just, to me, it looks really nice. So I'll show you guys. I just dipped the end of it. Now, not the end that you tapered, but the raw end into my glue pot. And I do the same thing. I kind of spread apart the bow and push that down right into the center. And then that's what you get right here. So if you can see here at this angle, it also fills in a lot of holes and spots. If you have a bunch of holes in your bows that you don't have, maybe you made a loop a little bit too big. Very forgiving. Throw a piece of evergreen, throw a piece of leaf in there, it'll cover it right up. So I cut 4 of those. I'm going to place them in different spots just here in the middle of the bow. And then I've got two goldberry picks, exact same thing. Just separate out your bow loops or your tails or anything like that and just press that down into the middle of it. I'm going to put this guy back here. I've also put them inside the middle of a bow. Now this actually, my glue gun's easier to use on this. Do I have it even on? Yeah, I do. My glue gun's a little bit easier on this because the glue pot really kind of sticks to all these little extra pieces of the evergreen. So I kind of open the loop, and in between the loop, inside of it, I kind of put it at an angle so it's kind of popping out from the middle of the bow there. I'm going to put that guy right there in the middle just like that. And it's a little bit long, so I'm going to cut this piece off here. So I still have the tapered edge that I cut, but I cut just a tiny bit off of this bottom one because I don't want it to stick too far out. You know, you don't want it to, I don't want it to take away from the bow. I just want it to kind of, just want a little bit of accent. Just want a little bit of spice, I guess, a little spice. Won't hurt too much. I have one more piece of ficus that I'm not willing to just chuck or throw away, so I'm gonna throw that guy right down here at the bottom. All these little extra pieces, I always find a spot for them somewhere. Okay, and then I have these last 2 little pieces of gold. Well, Andrea, you missed most of it, but it looks great. Yeah, actually, you won't miss most of it. I will put this on YouTube, and then, of course, Facebook will post this. It'll be back up in a little bit, and you can, like, fast forward all the jibber-jabber. Unless you like the jibber-jabber, then you can listen to it. And then you'll have all the step-by-step. You won't miss out on anything. So all I did was stick those 2 berries. Same thing I did. I'm opening the bow and I'm placing it in. I don't really think there's a way to mess that up because I've seen other people just place stuff in there and no matter which way you put it in, it looks good. This is what your bow looks like now after I've placed all the goodies in it. So here's pieces coming out from this loop. And then, where's the one at? This guy right here. See if I can hold it this way. This guy right here, I opened this loop and I glued it down into the loop. If you see, I don't know if you can see down in there. I put it inside the loop instead of above, in front or behind it. I put it inside so it's coming out because that kind of had a little bit of a gap in there and it's filled it all up nicely. So you could finish now and say, look, say you don't have any shatterproof bulbs or you don't want to put any on it. You're done. You've got a corner swag that once you put this up, it'll frame your door nicely. Or here, let me show you. It'll frame your door nicely. Here, this part's the shorter part. Here's your long part. It'll frame your door perfectly, and then you don't really need to hang anything on it. I think that a longer bulb makes it look just that more finished. It adds, in my opinion, it adds a little bit more to the piece to where you can actually see that one side's longer than the other, I guess is the word. So I'll show you, whoops, that came off, which is why you need plastic. This piece came off over right here. So I'm going to try to put it back on without breaking it. Okay, so it popped back on. Alright, so I don't need to glue it. So I'm just going to put pipe cleaners in the tops of these. Now for this one, I used black pipe cleaners. You cannot see them at all. And then the one I have that I already finished, I have out in my hallway that I put pictures up. You can't see the black pipe cleaner. So just take the whole pipe cleaner, feed it in. Now if you want to glue this part, if you have some that maybe come apart a little bit easier, put hot glue on it, let it dry. And then as long as the top doesn't come off, you'll be fine. So I just feed my pipe cleaner through the top, maybe about, what is that? About 1.5 inches. Pull it up like that. And I twist it. That's all I do to attach it. And then you have this. Okay. So we're working with 2 of these. Now what I did with the other one was once it's hung where you need it, you'll be on a step stool, or if you don't want to, my easel, this easel back here, it didn't work for me because it was too much at an angle. It wasn't working out well. And then this little wreath holder here, I kind of got the same vibe from it, but I was still able to hang from it. This is what you're going to do. For sure you want to make sure that your long piece here, if you're putting it by a door frame, you kind of want to make sure that it hangs on the frame itself or a little bit closer, not really in front of the door. Now your door opens inward, so this is on the outside. It won't hit the door, it won't get broken. But you don't really, I don't think you would at least don't really want it to be in the door frame too much right here. You want to hang it lower here so that, first off, I like it to have just a little bit of movement. Now you guys can't really see that because I got so much stuff going on over here. Again, which is why I'm really working on clearing this room out for you guys. So let me show you if I can get this stuff. Here's the one I did already. If you can see, you get a little bit of movement on this guy at the bottom. And then this guy here hangs in just a way, let me move this, hangs in just a way that you also get a little bit of movement. Not much movement's going to happen. It's not like it's windy inside or like, you know, if you slam a door, stuff like that. It's not that big of a deal. I just like it to have just a little bit of movement. And the placement is easier for me once it's already hung where you want to hang it. After that, take it down, move it all around. But what I did was, after you attach the pipe cleaner to the end of your bulb like this, and again, these are all shatterproof. I don't suggest that you use real glass, unless you're super, super careful. Thank you. I just saw a heart or something like that. I love that. Thank you guys so much. It's so exciting to see. I'm getting more people watching, and I get more of the hearts and the thumbs up. It's really fun. All I did was, when you feed it through, If I can show you guys right here. So now see from the front, you're kind of looking up at this guy at an angle, and I'm really sorry you guys can't see that well. You've got mesh and ficus leaves and everything is hiding. It's high enough in the project where you can't see that pipe cleaner. But if I show you guys up underneath here, see that pipe cleaner is about maybe 2 inches before I have it. All I did was wrap it around. I just wrapped it around this guy. Now you can't see on the back because here I covered all of my pipe cleaners with greenery. So the behind the scenes doesn't show. But this right here is where I've wrapped the black pipe cleaner. All I did was wrap it around and twist it. So that's what I meant by the length on it. It would be a lot simpler for you to place these on your project once you finish it and you have it hung where you want it. Oh, okay. And what just fell? Okay. No problem. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this put up into the bathroom tonight. I'm going to take pictures so that I can have it all online for you guys so you can see. And get these guys placed where I want them. I really don't want to put them in there. It's actually, for me, I kind of go twist tie overboard. So if I place them in there now and they're not hanging in the right spot, especially since I have a set, I kind of want them a little close. I don't want them to be so far off that it looks ridiculous. But that's what I'm going to do now. So basically that's it for now. I got all the berries. Got the ribbon, the bow, ficus leaves. And we're going to put these two guys, one lower here and one more hanging off of the side. And you got it. You got it simple. You got it all done. You can add anything else to this too if you guys wanted. I'm going to do a peppermint one, a peppermint candy cane type one, where I'm going to use this mesh. Again, this is left over from a centerpiece I made. And then I'm going to use these little fuzzy things. I got this at Hobby Lobby's, little fuzzy things. And then look at these little candy cane type things I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to use these to hang off of it instead of a bulb. They're plastic, but they're like a really cute peppermint. Oh, can you see that? They're a really cute peppermint spiral. So I'm going to use that to hang off of the candy cane ones. And I think I might get a little bit too obsessed, but these those might go out in my living room or vice versa. There's also these sequin type flower deals that you can put in the middle instead of a bow and then just have some stuff going on. But I got some plans for a peppermint candy cane theme. Although those candy pieces I got to hang off of it have a little green in it. Still forgetting, but this 6-pack also I was able to get three swags out of it. So 2, 4, 6. Now I can make 3 more. But that's really it for tonight. Have to say goodnight. Bedtime is calling. Thank you, Helen. I appreciate you staying up. I know you're on the East Coast. I appreciate you staying up, watching for a little while. All you guys, I really, really appreciate all of it. If you can share my video if you want, it helps me out on Facebook and anything else like that. Just gets me a little bit more attention, helps me grow, so I can continue doing this. I actually love doing this so much. I'm going to do some more stuff. I am going to do just a YouTube video pretty soon. I'm not going to do a live. It's just another wreath. It'll be the reindeer theme. But then I also have Santa cones. It's a really cute cone I want to make for you guys. I'll do that on a Facebook Live. Just a few more projects before Christmas. We're really, really close. But I'll get all that done and I'll get those things ready for you guys. And I'll put some more feelers out to see what you guys want to see. And then plan some stuff for the new year. And we'll just keep going on. So again, thank you guys all for joining me. Thank you for hanging out with me for a little while we did all this together. I appreciate all of it. And until next time, you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.